Lesson 3.8, writing linear equations in different forms. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to write an equation given a slope in a y-intercept, write the equation of a line in point-slope form, write the equation of a line given 2 points, and of course, write a given line given a table. First off, let's look at our two forms that we should know of linear equations. The first one on the left, y equals mx plus b, we have seen before, we have discussed it before. That one is called our slope-intercept form. And the reason why it's called our slope-intercept form is because the m, of course, stands for our slope. And of course, the b stands for our y-intercept. The one on the left we're going to use when trying to write the equation in slope-intercept form, and we call this one on our right point-slope form. And again, there's a reason why it's called point-slope form. So first off, it needs a point in order to work this equation. That's where you get the y1 and the x1. That's your point. And then, of course, the slope, of course, is, of course, the m value that's just like our other one right here. So we're going to use both of these to write the equation of a line. First up, how to write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form. And we're going to start off easy. We're first going to identify the slope. Then we're going to identify the y-intercept. And then simply just substitute them in to y equals mx plus b. So let's see this in action. First up, let's work the one on the left here. We have find the equation of a line that has a y-intercept of -1 and a slope of 4. So again, we want to get this equation of the line, y equals mx plus b. Remember, all we need is our slope, and all we need is our y-intercept. Well, they give both of those values here. So simply just plug it in. We're going to have y equals, what was our slope? 4, so 4x. And then what was our y-intercept? -1, so -1. There you go. Easy peasy, whopping easy. Now it's your time to be amazing and try the one to the right. Go ahead and pause this video, please. The correct answer is y equals 1/2 x plus 3. They gave us the y-intercept of 3, which we plugged in for our b, and they gave us the slope of -1/2, which we plugged in for our m. Now let's look at some special cases. So these are special because they're unique of what the values they give you. So let's first work the top left one here. Find the equation of a line that has an undefined slope now, and a x-intercept of -6. Well, I got to think about what does an undefined slope look like? And if I think about it, it looks like a vertical line, which means it has no slope. So we also got to think about, well, if it's a vertical line, that means it hits also our x-axis. And that point is the x-intercept, which here, of course, is a -6. So really, all for this one, we're just going to have x equals -6. Again, because it's an undefined slope, and we are only given our x-intercept. Let's now jump to the bottom one underneath it, because I'm going to have you do to the right. So we're going to go to the bottom left one right down here. Find the equation of a line that has a y-intercept of 2 and a slope of 0. Well, this one, we can simply go straight into our y equals mx plus b, because they give us our slope and our y-intercept. So we plug it in, it's going to look like this, y equals 0x plus 2, but really 0 times anything is 0, so this right here goes away, and we really just get the equation y equals 2. Again, this is only a y-intercept of 2, and mean slope of 0, which means it's horizontal line, and it will only go through our y-axis, which is y equals 2. So go ahead and pause the video and try out the two on the right, please. Thank you. The correct answer for the top right one, where they want us to find the equation line that had a y-intercept of -3 and a slope of 0, turned out to be y equals -3. Again, since our slope is 0, it's not necessarily there. So then we just have our y equals -3. The bottom right one had an undefined slope this time and an x-intercept of 10. So just like the previous one right here, we're just going to have it x equals 10. Now we got 2 of them, actually 4 to tell you the truth, that are graphs. Now, same idea to write the equation of these. We're going to first identify the slope, identify the y-intercept, and then simply plug it in. So to get my y-intercept first, we look at our y-axis. So it's right here. That's a -1. Then we're going to use that point and count our slope. We're trying to go to this point up here on the right. So we got to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's +5. And then we're going right 1, 2, so 2. So my slope will be 5/2. So my equation, my line for this one will be y equals 5/2 x minus 1. Go ahead and pause the video and try the graph on the right. With the graph on the right, we had a negative slope of -3 to 1, and our y-intercept started at a +5. So once plugging those in, we got y equals -3x plus 5. Remember on these, you're just plugging them into our good old slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Let's look at the special cases here. So notice again here we have an undefined slope. So our slope is undefined because it's a vertical line. We can't walk on it. But we do have an x value here. And the x value here is a +3. So simply put, this one is just x equals 3. This one over here, though, has a y-intercept, which it looks like it goes through a +3. So our y is equal to just 3. Again, there's no slope here. The slope would be 0. So if we did plug it into it, it would just be y equals 0x plus 3. And then 0 times x is nothing. So we just get y equals 3. Okay? Those are the easy ones. Now, let's look at how we write a line in point slope form. To write one in point slope form, first again, we got to identify the slope. That might mean you might have to find it unless they give it to you. Then you might have to, after that, no, I have to, identify the x and y value from the point. So pick the point, label it, and then once you have your point and your slope, you're going to now substitute those into the point slope form. Y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Let's see this in action. And that's the bell to see it in action. So here, first example, we're going to look at one on the top left here. Write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form that passes through the point -2, 1 and has a slope of 3. So remember, the first one was to identify the slope. What they gave us here. Here's our slope. We identified step 1. Step 2 was to identify the point. Well, they gave us a point right here. So we're identifying the point and knowing that this is going to be our x1 and this is our y1. Now we just need to plug it into point slope form. Again, that was y minus y1 equals m times the quantity of x minus x1. Now just plug in your values. So it'd be parentheses y minus, what's my y1? 1 equals, and then my slope is what? 3. So plugging that in because we got that up here. Times x minus, what's my x1? A -2. You got to be careful when you have negative values as points because you got to make sure you put those in parentheses because some math's going to happen here before we actually distribute. And then we just simplify. So now we have it substitute, so simplify. So y minus 1, there's nothing to distribute there. But here, I got to take this -1 and times it by this -2. So I really get 3 times x plus 2. Then now I can distribute out. 3 times x, 3 times 2 gives me 3x plus 6. Bring down the y minus 1. And remember, I'm trying to get this in slope-intercept form, meaning that y equals mx plus b. So I'm almost there, which means I just got to solve for y, which means I just got to add 1 to both sides, and I can get my final answer of y equals 3x plus 7. So that's how you use those steps to get your slope, to get it into slope-intercept form. There we go. Let's try another one together. So down here, write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form that passes to the point. Now negative 1, 4, so x1, y1. There's my point. And my slope here is now actually undefined. Ooh, a slope that's undefined. Remember we talked about slopes that are undefined are vertical, and they go through your x axis. So really on this one, all we have to do is just look at our x value here for our point, which happens to be a negative 1. And if I had to write the equation of a line in point slope form or slope intercept form, and this is all I was given, well, and it's a vertical line because it's undefined, that's the key word here, then really it's simply just x equals negative 1. Done. That was not bad. But again, it's that key word. Slope is undefined. You got to make sure you know what that means. So, all right, cool. Let's see about 2 more. Oh, now it's your time to shine. So go ahead and pause this video and work this first one out on the top. Here's the correct answer for this one. They were given us a point, negative 3, 2, and it had a slope of negative 1/3. Once we plugged it into our point slope form and then simplified and solved for y, we got y equals negative 1/3 x plus 1. Now we're going to scroll down, and I'm going to have you pause the video again and try this one out that has the point negative 1, 4 and a slope of 0. Go ahead and pause the video and work this problem out. The correct answer for this one is y equals 4. They gave us the point, negative 1, 4, and a slope of 0. We plugged into our point slope form, simplified for y, and got it down to y equals 4. Now we could have done this a different way as well, mainly because it has a slope of 0, which means it is a flat line or a constant line. And that means it has to go through our y-axis, which means it has to be a y value, which means we could just took the y of 4 that it gave us as a point as our answer. So now you got 2 different ways. The last part is the toughest, but it's the same idea as this, except they're not going to give us a slope. So this time, they want us to find the equation of a line that passes through the points 2, 4 and 3, 6. So on this one requires probably the most work. And what you first have to do, of course, if we want to get the equation of a line, we have to get that y equals mx plus b, which means we need to find the slope and the y-intercept. Well, if we just find our slope, we have a point, we have 2 of them in fact, we can use the point slope that we used just a few minutes ago. So what we have to first do, of course, is find the slope. So let's find our slope. So they give us the 2 points, 2, 4, and then I get 3, 6. So I'm looking at how does 4 get to 6? That's going up 2. How does 2 get to 3? That's going up 1. So my slope is actually going to be 2 over 1, or just 2. Now that I got my slope, I have a point. Let's just pick the first one, x1, y1. I can go ahead and plug this into point slope form. y1 is slope times x minus x1. And then plug it in. So I'm going to have y minus 4 is 2, because that's my slope we just found right there, times x minus 2. Go ahead and simplify. Nothing to distribute here, so the parentheses drop. 2 needs to multiply to both, so 2x minus 4. And then we just need to get the y by itself, so we add 4 to both sides, and we're going to get y equals 2x. There you go. So very similar to the last one, which I'm talking about these ones here, but they gave us the slope, so we just went straight to the point slope form. But if they give you 2 points, find the slope first, then use the point slope form. So let's try one more together, and then you're going to have some time to shine. So here we go again. Find the equation of the line that passes through these points, 2, negative 1, 2, negative 3. So again, we need to find our slope first. So I'm going to go back to the old-fashioned formula. You could have just done what I did up the stairs, or just up above, where I just did that way. Some people like to do it that way. But I'm going to go the old-fashioned way. I'm going to label my points x1, y1, x2, y2, and then plug them in. So we're going to have negative 3 minus a negative 1 on top, 2 minus 2 on bottom. Uh-oh. And then we're going to get, I don't know if you see it, but I see it. That's going to get a negative 2 on top over 0. Well, we can't divide by 0, so this is undefined. Well, we talked about undefined slopes. Undefined slopes are vertical. And they're vertical because they go through a coordinate point on our x-axis. Well, what's the x value here? Oh, look, they're both happen to be the same. That was an instance right there to say this is an undefined line. So really, we don't need to go any farther than this. Since we got this, we talked about how an undefined line is at the x value of those points. So really, it's just x equals 2. There you go. That one was fun. Okay, so it can be that easy. So, well, you got 2 more to try right here. So go ahead and pause the video and try these. Or first, try the top one out first. Let's do that one first. Yeah, let's try that one out. So pause the video, try the top one first. Here's the correct answer for the top one. It had a line passing through the points 1, -2, 3, 4. Once we found our slope between the 2 points, which was 3, we then used that slope and the first point, plugged it into our point slope form right here, and then simplified and solved for y and got y equals 3x minus 5. Let's go ahead and try this last one out. Go ahead and pause the video and try this one out, please. The correct answer for our last one that went through the points 4, 9 and 0, 6, we had y equals a -3/4 x plus 12. We found our slope first between the 2 points, then used the slope in that first point to plug it into point slope form, which is this guy right here. Then we simplified and solved for y, and that's where we got our answer, y equals -3/4 x plus 12. If you have any questions, please just raise your hand and let your teachers know. Now it's time for productive practice. Go ahead and start the Google Slides. Work 10 on this one and work 10 on 3.9 as well.